Wednesday, the 12th of February 2025, the US session is about to open. I had a UK 100 trade still open when I finished recording the morning session. Sadly, as you can see right here, we just got clipped and stopped out before CPI, and then there was the dump, so we would have hit a nice TP had we still been in the trade. This was just really unlucky, honestly. So can't really say much more about it. We move forward, and I have several prepared entries for this session. First off, we will be looking at the completion of the second 5-minute bar in the Dow, and then a few more other trades in the Dow as well. Second 15-minute bar, also second 15-minute bar in the DAX, and first 15-minute bar in the NASDAQ. In case this is your first time watching one of my videos, I wait for certain bars to complete, and then I place buy and sell orders above and below the high and low of that bar. And then I just take the entry mechanically, whichever gets filled first. I delete the opposite order and place the stop in its place, and then I decide on a target. I look at both my research and the structure to decide a target, and that's pretty much it. I do a lot of research for my mechanical entries, and when I decide to take one candle break as an entry, I have research to back up the fact that that entry is profitable right now. So we'll wait for the completion of the first 5-minute bar. Also of note is that after before the CPI news, I was looking at gold. I was looking at the daily time frame and decided to place a buy order right below the day before yesterday, right below this low. Sadly, we didn't drop as much, and then we just rallied hard. So that was just a speculative trade. I had very, very low sizing on it, and the order was basically around here, so we just missed it, but that's fine. Not something that was part of my mechanical plan, but just an opportunity that I saw. Obviously, CPI came in higher, but I do think that the market overreacted to this, and I think that people might be too bearish right now, so we might be seeing a short squeeze, but I'm not really that interested in anticipating what's going to happen. That's why I use mechanical entries, so I will let price dictate which way I get filled in all of my entries, and I will live with the results. So waiting for the second 5-minute bar in the Dow to complete, and then the first 15-minute bar in the NASDAQ. Those will be our first entries. Just to note here, we've completed the first 5-minute bar. Obviously ATR is really high right now, so we're going to have to be careful with sizing. For this entry, I am planning on taking a smaller size than normal, so I don't really want to risk more than like $30 on this entry, which means I'll have to be very careful with sizing. I might bring you back after I've placed the orders, just so I can focus on getting the sizing correctly, as obviously I will have to place an order above and below the completely formed second 5-minute candle, also with the proper cushion of 5 to 6 points each side. So I'll need to be fast with calculating the size to not be over $30 risk. This is because this particular entry, while still a good one, has been a bit more tricky recently, so a couple more losses than you would want, but it's still profitable, so I'm just going to take it lower size and still benefit if it works today, and if it doesn't, I'll just lose less. So that's the logic behind that. And I'll pause you again as I wait the completion of the candle. So bringing you back here, I've placed my orders above and below the candle, like a 7 to 8 point cushion this time around, just because ATR is higher. So we've just gone to the low of the candle here. Let's see if we have a reaction or we just go even lower. As a personal preference, I would probably prefer to be filled long here, but I'm just gonna let it do its thing. If you've seen the morning video, I turned down a similar entry in the Dow where I would have gotten filled short, but I deleted the short order as I didn't want to get filled short because of the structure, and that was a mistake. So I'm gonna take it, and if it doesn't work, then that's just bad luck. But so risking the $30 that I promised, and as a target for this entry, considering we're in higher ATR, I'm gonna look towards a higher payout. So normally I've made 65 points, 100 points, 105, 160, 180, 80 on this entry. So I'm gonna go at least for 100 points. So 100 points is like $45. Let's look at a higher time frame here for the structure. So it's near the lower end of this breakout candle, right into this demand here. I think that's fine. It's a fine target. Let's see what happens. Obviously, again, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that this can be a core long setup for me. We have gone below the entirety of the morning range, which is this yellow box, London session. And if we go back into London session and close into London session, then generally that is a reverse signal for me. But I'll give this a chance, of course. And if I see the reversal, I might actually take it. So it's 3 minutes left, actually 2 minutes and like 20 seconds left until we complete the first 15-minute bars. Currently about a 100-point bar here. Have to take that into consideration as well. Obviously, we won't be taking this at this size, but I'll reassess. So for the first 15-minute bar in the Nasdaq, it's actually one of my better entries statistically for today. So it's one that I should take in higher sizing, or rather risking more. So I'm gonna risk like $60 to $70 on it, but I would prefer this bar not to go over 150 points. But then again, we are in a higher ATR environment, so it might be worth it still. So it's 565 to 445, let's say. So it's like 120 points right now. I would have liked to see more strength to this move to the downside here. For the Dow, but as usual, I'll give it a chance. And it's just a small risk anyway, so If this reverses and closes into the range, but I would need to close on the 15-minute chart, else it might be a pass. And we'll close very soon here, so this is probably a bit bigger than I wanted. In terms of sizing, but I will take it just because it's such a good entry statistically right now that I don't think I can afford to pass on it. So we're right above here. I think that's fine. It's probably like 9 points cushion, a bit larger, but that's fine considering the ATR. And the cushion obviously prevents some bad fills sometimes when you just go above and then it retraces. Obviously, I do think we're going to get filled long here. And let me just check quickly for a target. On the NASDAQ, 60 points, 70 points, 80 points, 45, 120, 60, 160, 90, 90. So these were the last entries on this in terms of points when I won. Now again, higher ATR. I'm gonna probably target, so normally I would target like perhaps 70 points in a higher ATR environment. Obviously with the stop's going to be 150, so I could probably go over 100. And sadly, we are attempting to reverse here. Yeah, okay, so we are filled long in the NASDAQ, risking 74. So that is exactly what we anticipated, and I'm going to be ambitious here, target almost the top. It's not quite a one-to-one, but obviously this is an ambitious target anyway. So let's see. I'm afraid there's a good chance we get stopped out here. I'm gonna wait for a candle close even if we get stopped out. And if we close on the 5-minute with a healthy bullish bar, I will take the long here and target a similar zone. Not the high of London session, because I think that's very ambitious, but perhaps 70% retracement. Okay, so I'm gonna wait a few minutes. Hopefully this doesn't just shoot up now. A bit of an unfortunate day for our entries. So what I was afraid of would happen in the morning on the Dow happened now, but then I turned the short down in the morning to see it dump, and here I just allowed price to fill me in whichever way, and here it stopped me immediately. So that can happen sometimes. That's why we need to carefully assess risk, but we also need to believe in our strategy. And since I've done my research well and I know my strategy works over time, I'm not really that bothered. With the sizing I'm applying, I basically just need a few good days where my main entries work. That's where most of the profit will come from, and all the other days it's just going to be a management of risk and just hanging around until I get to those days where the entries really work out and make most of the profit. So 30 seconds until this closes. If it closes like this, then that is a long position for me. Let me just check. So we're at like 44,200. So like 140 stop. I'm going to use the same sizing. Obviously the risk will be higher, but I think this is one of my core setups and this is a strong reversal pattern for me. So I'm going to wait a few seconds just to see what happens in the first few seconds. I just don't want to see it immediately dump. Okay. So I'm going to risk 61 here. And I'm going to target, let me just use the fib here. Yeah, I'm going to target 70% basically. I think that's more than fine. Or to be on the safer side, let's go for like 65. So risking $60 to make 95 here. Let's see what happens. Again, this is one of my core setups. A raid of a previous session and then a close back in that range on the 5-minute chart or the 15-minute chart. Now obviously I do prefer the 15-minute chart close, but in high volatility and high ATR environment, you do have to sometimes just go to the 5-minute because you will miss out, because this can just shoot up very quickly. And now I'm waiting for the completion of the second 15-minute bars. Second 15-minute bar in the DAX is going to be extremely relevant to me. Also the completion of the second 15-minute bar in the Dow. So if this completes and then we break above, I might add to it. I might also add to it if we close, just looking at ATR. 50 ATR is kind of high. Let's say we close in the next 5 minutes, or in the next 3 minutes actually. If we close at like 2040, I'm gonna probably add to this position, even though we might be getting into previous day low, and you might think that this could act as resistance. I think the reversal pattern is quite strong here, so I will follow my rules for adding. And my rules for adding are, if you gain 1 times ATR in the next 5 minutes since you've entered, and you get a close on the 5-minute chart that is strong, and you gain 1x ATR, then I add. Probably gonna add just a bit less, but so I need to see again 44250 and a close at that level or above. So let's see, 2 minutes, I'll bring you back. Okay, we didn't get our strong close here, or we did get a bullish close, but we didn't get to 44,250. So I'll hold off for now. But I do think that if we close above the opening range here, which is from the first 5-minute candle to the 5th, that is also an add-on. I'll keep an eye on that. We were slowing down here a bit, but my personal take is that the market is going to be a bit too bearish, or rather retail is going to be a bit too bearish on the CPI news, and we might see a squeeze. So I do like to be long here. Obviously, as you've seen, I've taken the entries mechanically, and here on a core reversal setup with confirmation. So I didn't let any bias influence me. But I do think there is ample chance for a squeeze here. So let's see 4 minutes until we complete the second 15-minute bars. And I'm going to be interested in the DAX and possibly in adding to both the Dow and the Nasdaq if things look right. And I almost forgot the fifth 5-minute bar in the SPX. This is also an entry. And it's actually a very good entry. So let me just post my entries really quick. Now, obviously, it would be a bit annoying to be long the Nasdaq and short the SPX. But if that's where price takes us, I'm going to respect it. And it can act as a hedge, so this is also one of my better entries, the fifth 5-minute, and I've just entered this back into my rotation after researching it for quite a while without it being that good. But it's showing signs of being really good right now. So I need to take this every time whilst the data is showing me that this is what I should do. And I'm taking it in quite high size as well, planning on risking $70 to $80 at most. I'm gonna also target like 20 points at the very least. So we've slowed down a bit here, which, it's not that big of an issue, but let me just check the size of this bar, 0.69. So it's actually not that big of a bar, not even 30 points. This is going to be a normal entry. I'm going to keep this sizing, I think it's fine. Let me just place the sell order first. And the buy order will require me to be careful because we're right at the top. So I'll just wait for the bar to complete if price remains at the top, and I might enter manually if we go above. But let's see. Obviously quite a bit of exposure, but again, everything is managed to my predetermined rules and my predetermined plan for this session. We are well within our risk. Our daily risk, so okay, I think I do have enough space here. And that's the long position. Now let's see what happens. So just gonna wait for a fill now. This is why the cushion is so important. Let's say we just completely reverse now. The small 3-point cushion here allowed us to avoid a bad fill. Obviously, that's not going to be the case each and every time. So let me just move to the 15-minute time frame here. I think if we go above here, then that's an add-on. While placing the cushion as well. So like that. Obviously we are retracing a bit, but if we get filled short in the SPX, then so be it. Like I said, I'm treating every single entry individually. So I'll pause you now as we wait for fills. and wait for price action to unfold. Okay, so we did get filled short in the SPX here. We're going to treat it as a hedge. I'm just going to target this area here, this area of this little breakout. So like just 13 points, it's on the lower end, but it's on higher sizing, so I'm risking like $80 to make 90. I think that's fine, I don't want to push it too much. But then again, considering we are looking at a reversal here, risking 61 here and 73 here. I don't really expect us to go all the way down, so I have to be considerate here. I could push this all the way down as well, so in case we dump in these, I'm hedged here. But at the same time, I think I'll play like this. I'm happy to hit here for like 13 points and make a quick 90. And then hope to see these bounce back up. Let's see. And that's my logic right now. Yeah, I'll be patient and I'll bring you back. Bringing you back here, bit of a tough spot to assess. So ideally, what could happen that helps us here is that price just goes down a bit further. We hit TP here and then we reverse and we continue the rally. We can also have a scenario where we just fully reverse and we just profit on these entries plus stacks and just lose on this. But there's also the bad sort of scenario where we reverse here and we just start rallying from here. My stop gets triggered in the SPX, but we don't really go much higher in these. Perhaps we just go back to this high and we sell off again, and then I get stopped in 03. That is also a possibility. I can't really close this early while I'm letting these run. I think that's just bad practice. I do think it's looking like we're going to get filled long in the DAX, so that's interesting, especially looking at the US indices. So let's just hope we just touch this here in the SPX. If it's going to happen, it should happen now. There's just feels like there's decent demand here. So I'm just gonna actually manage this position a bit and bring the stop loss down. I don't want to see a full reversal here and lose $80. I think that's pretty bad at this point. Being so close to TP, I am letting it run and giving it every chance to hit here. But if it wants to reverse, I'm not going to give it more than 30 now. I don't think that if we go back here, it's that likely that we continue going lower. So let's just hope we get a TP here and then we can continue going higher, but it does feel like there's demand here stepping in. Yeah, bit of a difficult setup to have, to be short the SPX and long Nasdaq and Dow. But again, these are individual entries, so I am treating them as individual entries. So let's see. I'm gonna let this long order in place here. And yeah, I'm not gonna touch anything. I think this is fine. And I have no entries in gold for this session unless I take a setup-based discretionary entry, which right now here would be a short because we rated the top of London session. And now we might close on the 15-minute below these other candles. But we are leaving a bit of a wick here, so it does feel like there's demand here stepping in as well. But let's see, I might attempt a position in gold here, just because it does look like a good setup, but it will be in small size. 15 seconds until we complete the bars. It's actually so close here, it's kind of amazing that we're stuck in this. Let me just go on the 1 minute here. I would hate to close this early and then see everything dump and here lose the full amounts, while here I've taken just half profit. And then again, when you're unsure, better not do anything. So I just got filled long in the DAX here. Risking 43. For the DAX, a 50-point target would be appropriate based on previous data. So that would be new highs. So risking 43 to make 53. And we are kind of reversing here. It's really unfortunate. We were very close to TP here. I don't like to close early for the reasons that I've mentioned. And I think you can easily see why that is. We were very close to the full profit, but just didn't want to drop a bit lower, which means the demand is strong, really. If we make another attempt here, but I don't think we will. So I'll just lose the minimum. I think I'm getting a bit unlucky in these past few days, including today, yesterday, and the day before, with my best entries, the ones where I risk more. They just haven't returned a profit, even though they're my best entries. So when that happens, obviously you are in a bit of a pickle. But again, you're gonna get this, and you're also gonna get those instances where these trades are gonna just win. And when they win $90, $100 each, it's gonna add up really fast. So yeah, I can't really be too upset here. I think I've managed this well. I gave it a chance. It's probably gonna stop me out, but at least let's hope that these continue as well. Because if not, we're gonna be in the worst case scenario where we get stopped here, and then we fully reverse and we get stopped in these as well. That would really sting, but obviously that is also accounted for, so our account survives even if worst case scenario happens here. And I'm pretty much done with the entries. I will also have an entry off the fourth 15-minute bar here in the SPX, but let's see what happens first. We're close to getting stopped out. And in the Dow and in the DAX, we got filled long, and now we're retracing a bit, so a bit complicated price action and a bit contradictory entries, but like I said, we're treating them as individual entries. So, and we did get stopped out here in the SPX. We will see if moving the stop loss was the correct decision. I do believe that there's a high chance we just carry onwards now. Demand here looked quite strong. But yeah, it's just a bit unfortunate. These higher sized trades, higher risk trades, are really the ones you want to win. And they're the ones you're more likely to win according to my research and statistics, but it's just a bit of a weird period where I'm actually losing on these, which is obviously dragging the account quite a bit. But we will see the reverse of that soon, I'm sure. So, gonna manage these trades, these positions. My initial TP for this is here. Now, if I see strength in all the others, I might increase the TP to one of the entries, especially since we're gonna get probably filled in the add-on as well here. The add-on is also going to have a lower stop loss. We're just going to go right below this bar. So let's see, no point in keeping you here. I'll just show you once we get a fill, continuation, or a reversal. So I was just thinking of increasing the take profit on the DAX because it was just looking ready to start pumping, and it just hit it. So yeah, and it also just filled me long here on this add-on. So placing this just below here, so risking another 50 here, and I think I'm just gonna go for this area. I'd be very happy if we hit these TPs. I think it's risky to aim for more. We can definitely squeeze here, but let's just go with a higher likelihood target for now and see what happens. We would have gotten stopped for the full 80 had I held the original stop here. So I think it was good management. Of course, you're going to look at this and say, well, you could have taken profit here. But I think if you look back on it without the power of hindsight, with these also in the red, you know, do you really want to close the winner early and let the losers run? Is that the way to win long term? I don't think it is. So I think I'm fully justified in what I did there. And it was just unlucky. We could have easily just gone 3 points more. That's all that was needed, 3 points more. And in this high ATR environment, 3 points is nothing. Could have really easily gone 3 points more to hit $90 take profit. So, and actually this take profit in the NASDAQ is quite ambitious, but I'll let it run for now and we'll see what happens. I think it is also appropriate to raise this stop now. Just gonna put it here, not gonna go too high, but obviously if we go below these bars now, that's a huge reversal. So let's just be a bit more proactive here with managing the stop loss. I'm actually a bit annoyed that I wasn't fast enough with this, because I was just getting ready to move the TP up and it just burst upwards. You can see it here on the 1 minute. But yeah, you never know. So still a TP on a difficult day otherwise. Look at these losses in a row. So obviously with this type of strategy, you're gonna sometimes get into a lot of losses in a row. I'm taking like around 15 trades per day, And all of the trades, I just want to emphasize, all of the trades are pre-planned and are highly researched. So you see me taking a lot of positions, but this isn't some emotional trading or me over trading or trying to get into positions intentionally. No, these are fully researched positions, and this is an edge that plays out over time. So you can think of it exactly as a casino offering a game of roulette. You're gonna have players win sometimes, and a lot of the times you can have bad runs as well, but over time you know that you'll win because you have a mathematical edge, and this is exactly how my edge plays out as well. So I'm not really bothered with having 5, 6, 7 losses in a row, as long as I manage risk correctly, which I am. So as you can see, DAX remains the strongest of them all here, which is why I'm a bit annoyed with not being faster to move TP further up. But I'll be patient, and I'm pretty much done with the mechanical entries for the day. I also had an entry of the 4th 15-minute bar in the SPX, but it is too big of a bar. So from 60.41 to 60.15, it's a 25-point bar. It's probably just too much for my taste here. I would have to risk quite... not risk, but I would have to use quite a small sizing. Something like this, even lower. And if we slow down here, it just won't be that profitable. So I think I have enough long positions here. Hopefully we just carry on squeezing, because you just know that people are shorting here. They're looking at this huge fair value gap. They're looking at, they're using their Fibonacci, looking for reversals, kind of like I did here for TP, but I'm just trying to be conservative here. But you're gonna have people shorting here, definitely, right where we've wicked here. This is the ideal area for retracement, obviously. But I do think there's a high potential for squeeze here just because the data was bad. So retail will be a bit too bearish. So generally that causes opportunities for market makers to squeeze higher and screw over retail. And look at the DAX. Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, but what can you do? Hopefully the American indices can follow up. I'll pause you now, and hopefully I'll bring you back to some good news. But whatever happens, every outcome is accounted for, and my account will survive, and I'll carry on with the strategy regardless of what happens until we pass the account. So pausing you for now. We are getting some volatility here. Definitely a chance we squeeze here. I'd really like to just hit this, and then I can let this run without being too stressed about it. Also, if you're thinking about me closing early here, that's not what I do. Not anymore, anyway. I think that's a very bad habit that you need to actively work on if you want to be profitable long term. Unless you've entered a scalp or you planned on getting out early in a trade. I'm not gonna close trades early just because I'm afraid of a reversal, just because I've had a bad day, etc. when you get stopped out, generally you get stopped out for the full amount. So if you teach yourself to and allow yourself to close winning trades early, that will highly impact your R&R and your overall account. So you just have to be patient. Sometimes, yes, price will go close to your TP and reverse. That's just part of the game. Obviously, we are looking at rallying into supply here, rallying into a strong sell. But our target is clear, and it's based on research and probabilities. So it's not random. So we'll just let things run. Hopefully we keep squeezing here, because again, I do think there's also the research that confirms these are valid targets, but also market experience and what usually happens on days like CPI. You have bad news and then people are too bearish, so they start shorting every rip and then price keeps going up. So I'm kind of counting on that. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong and the losses are accounted for in the strategy. So without further ado, I will pause you again and hopefully bring you back to a take profit. So just bringing you back here to say that I didn't take the gold short, obviously, and you can see the price is coming back up here. So while this reversal pattern was clear here, I don't really like to take these or take these usually in a counter trend. Obviously, look at gold on the daily. We've been rallying a lot. So when we go below a key level and back into the range, I am comfortable going long. But when we go above a range and back into it, the short is a bit more tricky, so I will avoid it more. I will sometimes still take it, but this was on my mind, and that's why I didn't take it. But why, for example, I did take the long on the Dow here. Because again, look at the Dow on the daily. Yes, we started ranging here a bit, but overall, we've been rallying. If you look at the weekly as well, we've been rallying. So I think that is quite evident here. So this reversal pattern is more valid because it's in the right direction basically, whereas this is counter trend. So I just think it's a bit harder to realize. Now obviously we can still sell from here. My stop would have been just above this high, but yeah, that's why I didn't take it. I hate to do it, but we're kind of slowing down here too much. I'm thinking of just closing one of the Dow trades, just to be on a little bit of a safer side, but then again, you're not really letting the edge completely run if you do that right. So let's give it another chance here, perhaps. Looking at the 1 minute, we're just ranging now quite a lot here, but we are above previous day low, so it does feel like we've recaptured this low, but at the same time it's not looking really that strong or as strong as you would have wanted it. DAX is still moving forward. And the UK 100 has been quite strong as well. No entry for us here though. Didn't have a setup for it. Look at that unlucky stop before the dump. But that's going to happen on CPI day sometimes. I'm not going to be too upset about that one. Well, I think we need to be brave here and just let the edge play out and not do anything. So if it fully reverses, that's gonna suck, and it's gonna take away all our profit and take us back to the start pretty much, but that's still something that can happen sometimes. So we're just gonna let the edge play out. So I'll bring you back. And time for another update here. Sadly, sometimes when you're brave and try to do the right thing, you're not going to be rewarded for it. So it does look like we're going to get stopped here. I tried to hold out and hope to see price move forward. Didn't happen. I was thinking of closing one trade, but again, when you're losing the full amount, like I'm gonna do here. So just teaching yourself to close early is just not a good habit. And even if it hurts to see this reversal here, especially since also in the SPX we were close to a TP here and we missed out. And then here we could have rallied a bit more and hit, but we didn't. So that's just going to happen sometimes, but when the move will go in your direction, you're going to leave so many points on the table if you teach yourself to close early that I just prefer to do it like this. And sometimes it's not going to work out and it's going to sting. But when it works out, in the long term, I do think that if you have an edge, then it's going to work out more often than not. Then you shouldn't teach yourself to close early. So that's my decision. I'll live with it. We're completely fine on the account, whatever happens. So I'm going to let everything play out. And wherever the chips fall, they fall. And we're just going to carry on with the strategy. So I'll pause you again and we'll only bring you back when we wrap up the video. So I let this run and had a reprieve here. We actually rallied all the way back almost. And I am just going to close this now because I let it go and it's just retraced here a bit, so I'm actually just gonna take that profit now. Gonna let these run though. So quite extraordinary. See, sometimes you do get rewarded, I guess is the lesson here. And I'm gonna bring these stop losses back up to break even now. Okay, so at worst we give this all back. I don't think I'm gonna let it, obviously. I'm gonna let it run a bit more. Give it a chance to actually hit. Now that we've secured most of this entry, it was $90. If it hit DP, $93 or something like that. But yeah, I'm not gonna push my luck further there. I think I was vindicated in letting it run and not panicking, but now it's just let me just look at this channel right here for a bit. It's kind of perfect. But I will give it another shot here. We're actually in profit for the day, which is amazing, considering this has not been an easy day. So hopefully this shows how you can just keep applying your rules and be patient and not be too reactionary, and still recover. Obviously, we were lucky here not to get stopped out, but at the same time, you could say we were unlucky in the S&P 500 not to hit TP here, or we were unlucky to not hit TP here directly. So that evens itself out. Like I said, it's important to let your edge play out, and if you teach yourself to just close early every time, then that habit will stick and it will definitely affect your profitability and your R&R in the long run. And you do need to squeeze every bit of profit that you can. So you can't really let emotions dictate what you end up doing. So I'm just gonna close the Nasdaq as well here, because if these are channels, and if they get respected, we're probably gonna pull back to the low side again. So now I'm just gonna let this add-on run, and we close at 246 regardless. If we just give this back, we close at 10,246. So it's gonna be actually a bit above where we started the day, I think, if I remember correctly. So it's a recovery, which is nice. And what I can do here actually is move this TP even higher. So we've closed the other trades, but let's say we rally more here now, we break out. Let's just target $100 here. And I could even go higher, because in case we break out here, we can definitely keep squeezing. But I'll just target 100. So either 100 or 0. That's not a bad place to be in. So we've reduced our risk by exiting the Nasdaq and closing the original trade in the Dow. And I'm just going to let this run. We have 100 points in profit here. So 110 points actually. So it's not like I'm not giving it ample cushion. So we're just going to let that run. You'll see the result of this trade tomorrow morning. So an extra incentive for you to check out tomorrow's video as well. But I'm going to wrap this up for now. A nice session, nice day, even though it was quite difficult. I think there's a lot of things you can learn from this video. Look at this losing streak here on a single day, and we're completely fine, and the account was never in risk, and we still finish in profit. So even on a difficult day where our best entries didn't really work out as planned, we still made it work. So I think this shows the power of the strategy and the edge. And again, on days where things will just work out, those are the days where we'll make the bigger parts of our profits. And on all the other days, we just have to manage and survive basically, and just apply good discipline and good management. And I was right to turn down the short on gold here. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content, if you like the videos, if you like the channel. I try to post daily, and I try to show everyone a valid way of passing these funded challenges, or just simply trading your real money account with all mechanical entries through research, discipline, and a good thought out plan, good risk management. You can do it, and hopefully I can teach you a thing or two. So that being said, see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.